Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today we are back with another plan with me in my 7x9 Tilly Journals Functional Flexi Planner. This one I am planning the week of the 23rd to the 29th of January, and I am using the Cyber Monday 2020 mystery from Plannerface. I do PR for Plannerface, so you can use my code CAT10 to save 10% on your orders and add my name and notes to seller to pick up my freebie. Now, if you don't know, I do help Anna with the Plannerface mystery. I help come up with themes, mood boards, clip art lists, all that kind of stuff. And this was the very first mystery that we did. How exciting is that? And I've been saving this kit for so long because I didn't really know when I wanted to use it. But this felt like the perfect week. So this was the week that we were really focusing on, or maybe the first week I was working in my office actually. I think in last week's plan with me, I was talking about how we were doing a lot of work to set up my new office, which I do have a vlog for on my channel if you want to check that out. But this was the first week I was working from home in my new office and spending my weekend in here and stuff. So this felt like finally the perfect time to use this kit. And then I'm also using sparkly hollow foil from SPC, which I think was the perfect choice. Whenever I'm like looking at this spread, it just makes me so happy. The hollow with the pastel colors is just perfect. And just to address it, yes, you did see me watching my own video, my own first ever plan with me while I was doing this plan with me, because I just wanted to go back and refresh some of my old content. I'm that kind of narcissist that is capable of watching back my own stuff, so I just wanted to rewatch that. So the downside for using this kit was that it's just an old format now, you know, it's a format that's 2.5 years old, and my planning style has evolved, what I need in a kit has evolved, and so I did really struggle with particularly enough full boxes. So we did have a quote box, thank goodness, but we didn't have 2 fashion people. We always do mysteries with 2 fashion people now, at least. But we didn't do that for the first ever one. This was before the monthly subscription. So I ended up needing to bring in that box that's on Tuesday is from a Plannerface kit with art by Kitnish Jess, which is a totally different artist, from like a Christmassy spread where I happened to save the fashion person. And I think she blends in well enough with this kit that you can't really tell. I think it's okay, but it was a struggle. And then in the bottom left, I'm using a random leftover from, I think, Plush Paperies that I've just stuck a foil overlay over. I don't know. It was hard work, but the spread looks cute, so it's all good. So we're now going to get into the day by day. I don't talk about where each of the individual stickers is from. If you would like me to, let me know, and I could probably make these plan with me's longer and make sure that I do mention it. But I tend not to because I shop from the same shops. So Plannerface, Squirrel Prints Co., Once More With Love, Coffee Monsters Co., Papershire, Joy of Planning kind of pretty much covers where most of my stickers are from. But I will always have my favourite shops linked in the description. I post every sticker I buy goes up in a haul, so you can always check those out. But if you do want to know where a particular sticker is from, feel free to drop me a message down below and I'll let you know. So on Monday, I marked that I was still reading The Roommate. I'm pretty sure I spoke about this in last week's plan with me. This is a book by Rosie Danon, which is a very steamy book about a porn star who is currently not working, and he is living with this girl who moves across country to live with the guy she's had a crush on her whole life, and then he like immediately moves out, and then he ends up kind of showing her how to please a woman, and then they make a start up about it. It's a difficult book to describe, but it's good. I would recommend it. Then I marked that I was in meetings all afternoon. I tend to mark that if I have nothing else to mark, because I could mark the individual meetings, but it's not something I would choose to look back on really, and is not something I can share on the internet, and therefore I would rather not put too many specific work things in my memory planner now that I'm back doing plan with me's. But I do use it if I'm just filling space. I'll put meetings all day or something like that. Then I marked that me and my dad went to see Kermode in 3D. Mark Kermode is a film critic, and he has a live show once a month at the BFI where he will have guests come and talk about films and stuff. And this was the one where Guillermo del Toro was one of the guests talking about Pinocchio, which I still haven't watched, but really need to. But yeah, that was really cool. I have like a small video clip of him because it was just really awesome that he was there. Then I marked that me and my dad went to have pizza. So we do, if we can, like to go for dinner afterwards. It's just a good chance for me to, have some time with my dad, catch up on life and stuff. And then I marked that I had a late night. So getting back from the BFI is not usually too bad unless the train sucks, so it might have been that the train sucked, but this was still back when I was in my sort of rhythm of not being able to go to bed particularly early and really feeling the lack of sleep. So yeah, that's why I marked that. Then on Tuesday, I marked that I was finalising stands. I have a very events-based job, and so I do have to like make stands for exhibitions and things, so I was finalising the work for that. Then I marked that we had a president's forum at work, which I went to. Then I marked that I had a productive afternoon, go me, and I marked that I cleared my emails. Now I know you might be thinking, why would you mark productive afternoon and clearing your emails as two separate things? So the way that I manage my email inbox is that all emails will stay unread until I action them. Even though I've read them, I leave them as unread in my inbox. And I've done this the whole time I've worked at my current workplace. So I'm really, really used to it now. And I make my team manage our shared inbox in the same way because I'm so visually used to it. And it does mean that I often have like 120 unread emails, even though I will have read all of them. So when I clear my emails, it's usually when I get it down to like 10 or 20 unread emails in there. And it's a really good feeling. It's very rare. We're back up to about 150 now, but it's fun when it happens. So that's why I marked it. Then I marked that I was still reading The Roommate. It took me a few days to read The Roommate. I think I must have very exclusively just been reading it on my commute. Then I marked that I made a Gusto meal. So Gusto is a food subscription service where it's like HelloFresh, if you've seen any YouTube advertising for HelloFresh, where you get to choose recipes and the ingredients are delivered to your door each week. We've had Gusto for like 3 years. We really love it. It taught me to cook. I'm a big fan of Gusto, and I do have a referral link in the description. So if you are interested in trying out Gusto, if you want to use my code, you'll save, as will I, on your Gusto first box. And I really like that I use the flag for that because I barely use flags anymore, and they only work on a bougie box if you have a script. And thankfully Anna made me these custom Gusto meal scripts. You won't be able to pick those up, but it's like very exciting to be able to put that there because I think it looks really cute, and I barely use flags these days. And then I marked that we watched His Dark Materials. So His Dark Materials is a book series that was turned into a TV show on the BBC. I would really recommend it even if you haven't read the books. It's such a good TV adaptation of the books. All the acting is fantastic. It's got Lin-Manuel Miranda in it. It's got, what's his name in it? That's like completely unhelpful. James something. I can't think of his name. It's got Ruth Wilson. Like, it's so good. It's got such a stellar cast, and this book series has had a film before that was trash, so it's like very exciting to all of us that it had a really good BBC drama. I didn't like the third series as much, and I didn't like the last couple of episodes in particular as much, but you know, it was still, I'm really glad we had the adaptation. Then on Wednesday, I marked that we had a department meeting, and my department has maybe 95 people in it, so when we have department meetings, it is like quite a big deal if there's a department meeting. But I marked that I was feeling unwell. I had a really, really bad cold around this time. So I take immunosuppressants for my urticaria, which is my like hives condition. And it means that, you know, what is a normal cold in someone else is going to be a lot worse in me because my body can't fight it right now. So I felt ill for several days with this. But I marked, I think I worked from home for the first part, and then I travelled into London, and I marked that I was reading The Roommate, and then I went to Five Guys with my mum before we went to see Allegiance, which is a musical that is written by George Takei, and it's like based on his life, and it was starring Telly Leung, who's an actor that me and my mum really like. It wasn't as good as we were hoping it would be, and I don't know whether that was just because I wasn't feeling great, but yeah, with this, I've seen musicals set in that time period that are better than that one. But, you know, we got to see George Takei, and that was kind of cool. And so I must have finished The Roommate on my commute in, because then I was reading Written in the Stars on the way out. And I'm doing this voiceover at the end of April, and I've finished that series now, so check me out. But Written in the Stars is a novel about Darcy and Elle, and Darcy's brother Brendan sets them up on a date, and it doesn't go well. They don't have a good time, but they decide to fake date to keep Brendan off their back and to keep Elle's family at bay. And then obviously they're getting feelings for each other in the way that fake dating romances often go, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, so it's really sad. So I probably mark it a few times because it took me quite a while to get through. Then on Thursday, I marked that I slept in and I was off sick because that cold had just wiped me out, and I wouldn't have chosen to still go to Allegiance on the Wednesday, but we'd already moved the tickets once because of train strikes. So I didn't want to ask the theatre to move them again. I wanted to just push through and go. On reflection, I probably shouldn't, but that was why I ended up being off sick on Thursday. I marked that I binge watched The Crown. There are certain shows that I like to watch while I'm off sick. Emily in Paris is the key one, but I'm very good at watching Emily in Paris. Bridgerton is another one. But I still haven't finished The Crown. I think the reason I haven't, and it's the same with Virgin River, is that they are much harder watches and I don't want difficult TV in my life right now. So I still haven't finished those two shows. But I was binge watching it on that day. Then I marked that I was planning while I was doing that. I watched some booktube. I had pizza for dinner because Thursdays are the days that Stuart games, and so he wouldn't have been around to make dinner for me while I was sick. So, and sometimes when I'm sick, the only thing I crave is pizza, you know? So I had pizza for dinner, and then I marked that I was watching Dragon's Den and The Apprentice. The Apprentice is my second favourite show after Gilmore Girls, and it used to be on in the autumn, but now it's on like in January, February time. So I was marking that I was watching that, as well as Dragon's Den, which I really enjoy. Very similar type of show. Then on Friday, I marked that I worked a bit, but I was off sick from 11. Often when I'm off sick, I will do the sort of bare minimum that I need to do to make sure my inbox doesn't explode and to offload work to other people if possible. Not always possible, but sometimes. And then I will log off again. I don't think I really should have to do that, but my manager is sort of several grades above me at work. I don't really have somebody above me who can take on my work if I'm off sick. So I either have to take the hit of not doing it or pass it on to one of my team. So it's quite challenging when I'm off sick. So that's why sometimes I'll do a little bit of work and then log off. Then this was quite a stressful day because we got a knock on the door and it was these random lads offering to clean our driveway. And our driveway, we have quite a big driveway outside our house and it was a mess. It's never been cleaned in the time I've lived here. And it was something we actually needed doing. So I decided to let them do it because I was like, well, this is actually something we need doing. And he was like, you know, please don't be offended, but your drive's a mess. And I was like, I'm not offended. Our drive is a mess. But it was quite stressful because I think ultimately they were quite salesy and they kept coming back and like convincing me to pay for more of the drive to be done. And I was starting to get really annoyed with it by the end. And I did end up getting like quite stroppy with them. And, you know, that now looking at the drive, like it still looks a lot better, but they said they put like sealant in it to stop like weeds coming up through the cracks, and they very much still do. And it's really difficult to get a garden around where we live. We had a gardener for a bit who's completely like let us down, and he was the only one who'd ever even come round. It's just really, really difficult to get a garden around here. So yeah, it's just annoying because it's not something me or Stuart want to spend our time doing. I would be really happy to pay someone else to do it, but it's really difficult to find someone to do it. So yeah, it just kind of lent to like constant stress about this. So anyway, I marked that I was feeling anxious because this really took up a lot of the day that I was off sick, and Stuart was not in a position where he could come and deal with it because he was working. And it's just the type of thing, like dealing with tradespeople is something that makes me anxious because I worry about getting taken advantage of. I worry about when they knock on the door, I can't like compare them against other quotes and stuff. So yeah, it just very much got me down on that day. Then I marked that I had to then go to watch my friend in a show. So again, it was one of those things where I didn't want to go, but my friend hadn't done a show in ages, and well, that's a lie. I did a show with her last year, but she hadn't done a show we hadn't seen in ages, and I just thought she would be really upset if I didn't go, and I was really worried about annoying her or like letting her down. So I decided to push through, but it meant I ended up having to go and have dinner in a Starbucks and then watching this panto, and it was an adult panto. So if you're not from the UK and don't know what a panto is, it's like a show effectively for kids that has a load of really silly jokes. A lot of it's quite like crude or stupid. And adult panto is like really over sexualized basically. It's so not the kind of thing that I enjoy because I really don't like normal panto, but adult panto is even worse. It's just watching like really, really crude jokes for 2 hours, which is just not how I would choose to spend my time. But you know, I went for my friend. Obviously she was really good, so it was nice to see her. And I went with my other friend and it was really nice to see her. Then on Saturday, I marked that I cleaned the house, which is baffling when I was unwell, but Stuart's friend was coming over to stay with us, and so I needed to make sure I cleaned the house. I then was watching Super Carlin Brothers Harry Potter theory videos. I really like SCB. I've mentioned them a few times in Plan With Me's. I then marked walk to the park, and I really cannot remember going to the park. I remember everything else about when I do the plan with me's from these periods of time, but I do not remember going to the park at this point. So I don't know if I've made this up or I misread my notes where I think I'd just written park. I honestly couldn't tell you, but I've written walk to the park. Then I went to Tesco, and again, the park and Tesco are in opposite directions. And then we went to Nando's, and I don't remember going to Nando's. So I'm so confused about the whole like trajectory of how that day went, to be honest. I do remember chatting with our friend Graham, but I don't remember having dinner with him. So I don't know. The whole thing is just like a little bit odd. I don't know whether they went out and brought dinner back or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, then on Sunday, I marked that I think I woke up early and was watching YouTube. And then we went for brunch with Stuart's friend Graham. It was really nice to see him. He lives in Scotland, so we don't get to see him that often, but he's just generally one of life's sort of really friendly, bubbly people. And he's very much like welcomed me into their group because they've all been friends for a really long time. Stuart's work colleagues, they used to work with Graham. And I always feel like I've known Graham forever, which is always just really nice. So I always like it when we get to see him. Then I marked that I was doing planning, and that was spending time in this beautiful office that I'm filming this voiceover in. And then I marked that we watched A New Hope, which is the fourth/first Star Wars movie. And what's really funny is that we started the first, so we were going to watch all of them in chronological order. We started the first one at least a year, if not 2 years before this, because we did a Marvel watch through in 2020, and then we were going to do Star Wars, and it's taken an embarrassing amount of time. Number 4 was the one I'd particularly wanted to watch, and I don't know why we then haven't watched number 5 and number 6. We just barely watch movies these days. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame because it was something that we really wanted to do. I find my concentration levels are not great for watching for watching Star Wars, and I don't show it on here because the sticker was in the other room, but I did use a script sticker from Lindsay Morgan Plans, which looks so great, so I'm sorry that you don't see that, but it does look cute. And then I was watching too many reels on Instagram, which is common practice but less so these days. I have mostly managed to kick that habit, which is good. And that was everything for the week. So I'm now just putting in the deco along the top. This is how I always do my deco, where I put it along the top of the planner and then I trim it by cutting along, which I do off camera. But I put in the little glittery bows. I've really liked putting in foil in between the stickers. This year I've done it for every week so far, and I really like how it looks, so I'm happy to do it again. So that is everything. I'm just showing you the leftovers, of which there is not a ton, so I will never be able to do this spread again because we didn't have a ton of extras like we do in the mysteries now. But I will keep the various extras to put in my reusable albums. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. In the description, you'll find links to the shop shown today, as well as my Instagram and my Goodreads if you want to check out any other content from me. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!